Welcome, operatives, to your mission briefing. By the authority of the Physics Division and the DC Alfina, you have been selected to form a strike team for Operation Crimson Frost. After their raid on Area 12, the Federal Bureau of Investigation Unusual Incidents Unit got in contact with the Psych Records team about a biological research facility located somewhere in Antarctica. The precise location of the facility will be kept classified until your deployment. The UIU failed to confirm who the facility belongs to, but the Ptolemy Records research team concluded that the SCP Foundation has been involved in some sort of research and development of an anomalous bioweapon, something we consider a parathreat. Knowing the Foundation, you should expect some anomalous entities both to be present and hostile. Using satellite imaging, we have confirmed the presence of SCP-008 infections, which you know of as Psi-Z. The research team also suspects but has not confirmed the presence of SCP-610. With these risk factors, winterized protective equipment should cover all areas of your bodies at all times, in order to decrease chances of infection. Further briefing into SCP-008 and SCP-610 will be required before deployment to ensure the safety of the operators and the success of the operation. Your objectives for this operation will follow the five-fold mission of our organization. Survival. Eliminate the parathreat and ensure the survival of the human race. Concealment. Destroy the facility and leave nothing left for the Foundation. Make it look like we were never there. Protection. Protect your fellow operatives and ensure the success of the operation. Destruction. Destroy all incidences of the SCP or anomalous bioweapon present. Education. Retrieve all Foundation intel on past, present, and future operations and anomalies. The Global Occult Coalition stands ready to defend the human race against all foes. I recommend you grab hand warmers. After we finish the intro, I want to kind of discuss a little bit about everything we know about this next upcoming update for SCP-5K. And if you are as curious as I was, you'll be delighted to know that I did all the work for you, and you don't have to really do any of that, so you can just kick back and watch the video. So without further ado, I'm going to go into exactly everything that we know for sure, all of the concrete details, and then we'll get into a little bit of speculation a little bit later on. So where I'm getting all this information from is going to be from AFRE's Discord, AFRE's website, and the SCP Foundation wiki. Now, due to some trouble with YouTube, I'm not really able to link stuff in my description, so I can't really link all of that for you, but you can very easily find that on the internet. AFRE's website actually has their Discord on it, so you can find it through there as well. So everything that we have for concrete evidence, we have what Antarctica looks like now. So when the game mode was released, we can look at exactly what we have, and we can kind of make an inference based on that. So as it is right now, Antarctica, the game mode Antarctica is very, very bare bones. It is probably the least developed game mode of the entire game. Even the Hunt Outpost Axiom, when it was called the Hunt Outpost Axiom and not just Outpost Axiom Raid, it was more developed than this Antarctica mission. For whatever the reason may be. Of course, the game is still in development, but that's what we have to look at, is the bare bones mission, which should essentially be, if you're looking for action content, less than 5 minutes of content. Very, 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 very few actual shooting, actual action, mostly running around. If you're doing it for the first time, it might take you 30 minutes to run around. If you're doing it over and over again, it should take you no longer than 10 minutes to beat the level. It is pretty simple. So, other than the actual game, we can also look at their website and see that they're scheduled to release the full Antarctica mission at the end of the first quarter of the 2025 fiscal year. So that would mean that we're talking about the end of March. So at the end of March, we should get what the full Antarctica mission is going to look like. And of course, that doesn't really count for any delays that happens. And if a delay happens, you should not be. I'm not going. I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm going to say what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry very much. I have a little bit of faith in these developers. It might be blind faith, but I do have a little bit of faith. I don't know any of them personally. I have a good feeling about this game. I have invested in it, and that might be a little bit of foolishness on my part, but I'm going to keep my hopes up a little bit. So if it gets delayed, I'm not going to be too bummed about it. I'm going to assume that they're working on it, and they're going to release it in a better state than it would be when it was supposedly supposed to come out. But I don't expect for it to get delayed. I think they're working pretty hard, so we'll see. Now, the other thing that we can look at is the teaser trailer on their Discord, which you can go to through their website and join the Discord, and you can find the teaser trailer on the 5K updates channel. It might be on their YouTube channel as well, the teaser trailer. I don't know for sure, but you can check if the teaser trailer is there. It should be the most recent one. I think it was released just before Christmas. And what we can see from that is essentially some sort of flesh SCP, which I'll get into a little bit later. Now, the last thing we can really look at is on the roadmap, what content we're expecting to get in the next update. And so word for word, it is Antarctica mission completed, Part 1 and Part 2 of Antarctica Outpost NSIS-4, and SCP something relating to flesh. That's pretty much all they have on their website. And now we kind of can take all of this in and speculate what we think, what we can gather from all of it. So I want to pick at the SCP, the flesh SCP first, because that's what I'm most sure on talking about. We know through the teaser trailer and through their roadmap that there's going to be a new SCP, a flesh-based SCP. They've hinted to it quite a lot, and many of the people on the Discord speculate that the SCP is going to be SCP-610, which is commonly referred to as the flesh that hates. Now, I myself personally believe that it is going to be SCP-610 because I've looked at some of the other popular flesh and SCPs, and they don't really fit what the teaser trailer is teasing. Really, the only thing that comes together is SCP-610, which infects people and turns them into these monsters, and that really isn't present on other SCPs. I believe the other ones which have flesh they're a different number. I had them pulled up here. No, I don't, unfortunately. But I would expect the appearance of 610 to be in a similar manner as the vines that we see in Area 12 raid, like the SCP-1262. I believe that's the vines that we are seeing in Area 12. I'm not going to expect more than that, but if you want to be optimistic, when we read the 610 article, there's some mention of what is known as flesh tunnels, so like large tunnels that you can walk into. If they are going to stay true to the source material, they might include something like that. That would be really cool. I don't know if they're going to do something like that. That's asking quite a lot. If they deliver, I'm going to be super excited, but I'm not going to expect that. If you would like to expect that, you're more than welcome to. I would say it's probably a shame if they don't include any of those, but we will see what they do with it. So, other than that, what we have is essentially a continuation and hopefully refurbishing of the Antarctica mission. So what they're saying in their website is Part 1 and Part 2 of Antarctica Outpost NSIS-4. And if we look back on the roadmap, we can see that part 1 of Antarctica was released already. That's what we have right now, is part 1 of Antarctica. And looking at the part 1 and part 2, that means that they're going to add part 2 to the current mission. Now, I would really, really like if they like redid or maybe added to part 1 of Antarctica, because as I said earlier, it's not really a whole lot of content. It seemed more like it was a test to see if you could spawn into the game and actually do a few minor tasks to see if everything was running right. This is a perfectly fine alpha with no bugs at all whatsoever. There is nothing wrong with the game. So if they are planning on releasing it in its entirety, I would imagine that part 1 would be hopefully better. A little bit more content, maybe a little bit more variance in enemies. That's what I am hoping for. Now, the worst thing to do in video games is to expect and to hope a lot, because then you will not receive it. So all of this speculation here, you can choose either to expect less or to disregard it entirely, and then who knows, you might be rewarded, you might be surprised later on. So other than that, what the website tells us, some few minor things about the next update, is going to be enemy improvement and improved bark lines. Those are the two kind of highlights that they give to us. And so that's literally it, by the way. It is just enemy improvement and there's nothing else, and bark lines. And then there's a little bit of extra, but I'll talk about that when I get to bark lines. So I suspect enemy improvement is going to be an improvement to the AIs regarding the SCP guards and the D-class escapees, or at least I would hope that they would focus on them, because as of right now, I've heard a lot of complaints from people I've played with that the SCP guards and the D-class, they're just AIs not that great. And I would have to agree with them for the most part. They're definitely not the best AI, but they're serviceable. They're not bad. Many people would argue that they are bad, and that's perfectly fine. You can argue that, but I'm used to AI like this. I mean, I played Black Ops 1 originally, and those AI, I don't remember them being too good. It was just mostly like aimbotting and knowing where you are and kind of cheap shots. So enemy improvement, whatever you would like to take that in, whatever you would like to estimate that might be, I think it's regarding AI improvements for guards and D-class. So the last thing we really have here is bark lines. Improved bark lines is what it says. And we have this little bit of text below it or on the website, and it's in this sort of script. And some people did some really, really smart stuff. They dug around a little bit. And this is something I didn't know, but the 5K, SCP-5K games universe has the Global Occult Coalition speaking a language that that's not really present in the normal SCP lore. It's called Enochian. And I guess they're claiming, because what the line says is Enochian bark lines. So essentially what that means, if you don't know what bark lines means, is sort of a voice response to something you do in the game. So I would suspect it would be something kind of like what we hear in Elvish in The Lord of the Rings, how like somebody's talking this language and it sounds cool. That would be interesting. Hopefully there's like a translation so we understand what they're saying beneath it, if we do get some Enochian bark lines. But I would also like to see some Crow Actual lines added into the rest of Chapter 1 too, because I've noticed that Crow Actual kind of disappears a little bit when you get into Chapter 1, and there's no voice lines in Chapter 2 or Chapter 3, but they worked on Chapter 1, so that's kind of expected. But to keep the game consistent, it would make sense that Crow would talk to you throughout the whole thing. Now, I have my personal opinions on Crow Actual. I don't really think it complements the game very well to have somebody talking to you throughout your whole Area 12 raid. I think the silence of Area 12 and being completely alone did a whole lot for the atmosphere than Crow saying a statue. Oh my goodness, get out of there. They got it just it that it seems cheesy to me. I have nothing against the voice actor and the decisions of the Affray team, but I think that Crow Actual kind of took away from the game a little bit for me. I'm probably alone on that opinion. I don't suspect others might have the same opinion as I do, but if you do, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm not alone on this. So that is pretty much all we have on the new update for Antarctica. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate if you engaged with it a little bit. I'm sort of a small YouTuber. I don't really have very many subscribers. I don't get a whole lot of views, but every little like and subscribe goes a very long way, so I would appreciate it. So take care.